Starting next Tuesday, the U.S. will restrict travel from India due to the spike in COVID-19 infections there. The move was recommended by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and comes as India recorded a new record daily number of cases, more than 386,000. As aid shipments from the U.S. and other countries arrive, several states in India ran out of vaccines a day before the country is set to expand vaccination efforts.
We are requesting the people of Karnataka, especially those who are above 18 years up to 44 years, to refrain from going to the hospitals thinking that you may be vaccinated tomorrow.
Meanwhile, Brazil's health minister appealed to other countries to share spare vaccines as they struggle to pick up the pace of inoculations. The virus has now claimed the lives of more than 401,000 Brazilians. The number of fully vaccinated Americans has now topped 100 million. A decline in new infections has prompted a wider loosening of restrictions. In Southern California, Disneyland reopened after a 13-month closure. The head of the CDC said more reopenings could be possible by midsummer.
We're focused on getting people vaccinated and decreasing the case rates. If we can continue at this pace, case rates are coming down, vaccinations going up, then I think July 1 would be a reasonable target.
We'll have more on the U.S. vaccination effort right after the news summary. Also today, the U.S. Transportation Security Administration extended a mask mandate for travelers on planes, trains, and buses through September 13th. Israel is reeling tonight after a stampede at a massive religious festival left at least 45 people dead and about 150 others injured. Lindsay Hilsum of Independent Television News has our report.
It was the first major religious gathering in Israel since the lifting of COVID restrictions. Some 100,000 ultra-Orthodox Jews were praying and dancing when suddenly it became clear that something was wrong. An urgent announcement on the sound system. Please clear the area. Get out of here. Hundreds had crowded down a tunnel leading to an exit. Scenes from just before panic set in show how constricted it was. Then some slipped, others fell on top. Men tried to get out through the gaps in the corrugated iron sheets that formed the walls. Rescue workers struggled to reach the injured. It's been alleged that the police had cut off key exits. It was desperate. Most of the dead and injured were men, but children had also been crushed. Paramedics took in stretchers for those who couldn't move. Those with broken bones will survive, but many died from asphyxiation or were trampled to death. Many in this community mistrust the government, so are inclined to blame the authorities, not the organizers.
The officers over there couldn't care less. And when thousands of people didn't know in the back of the line what was doing, pushing and shoving happened, and the Israeli government is responsible.
Prime Minister Netanyahu arrived to give condolences. He allowed the Lag BaOmer celebration at Mount Meron to go ahead against the advice of health officials, hoping to attract the support of ultra-Orthodox parties.
The Mount Meron disaster is one of the worst disasters that has befallen the state of Israel. We mourn the victims, our hearts go out to the families.
Today, they rushed to bury the dead before sunset ushered in the Sabbath. The government has called for a national day of mourning on Sunday.
That report from Lindsay Hilsum of Independent Television News. President Biden spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to offer condolences and assistance. The U.S. State Department said multiple Americans were among the casualties. A car bomb in Afghanistan killed at least 30 people and wounded as many as 90 others today. The attack happened in the capital of eastern Logar province. There was no immediate claim of responsibility. It comes as U.S. troops are set to withdraw by September 11th. Back in this country, Florida's state legislature has approved a bill that curbs voting by mail and limits the use of drop boxes. Republicans say the legislation will help prevent fraud, but Democrats argue it restricts voting rights. Republican Governor Ron DeSantis is expected to sign it into law. European Union regulators are accusing Apple of violating the bloc's antitrust rules. They allege that the tech giant distorts competition for music streaming services in their favor through their App Store. Apple rejected the claims. The European economy has fallen back into recession amid a pandemic, lockdowns, and slower COVID vaccine rollouts. Economic output shrank 0.6% in the first 3 months of the year in the 19 countries that use the euro. But most economists say they believe an upturn is on the way as inoculations ramp up in coming weeks. And stocks gave up ground on Wall Street today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 185 points to close at 33,875. The Nasdaq fell 120 points, and the S&P 500 slipped 30. Still to come on the NewsHour, a frontline look at the struggle to vaccinate a skeptical public. How forced labor in China creates an economic fight. Catching massive waves in a new documentary on a female surfer, and much more.
This is the PBS NewsHour from WETA Studios in Washington and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.